Jason X is a sci-fi horror movie that basically was made to make fun of itself. But did they accidentally add some spiritual themes within? So with Jason X being the last true Friday the 13th of the main franchise, it takes place in space. The movie that I believe they made just to make fun of themselves. They got all the way up to part 9 and they're like, what are we going to do at part 10? Well, we don't want to remake what we've done over the past 9 episodes. And if we make a part 10, it's going to be bad. So let's make fun of the fact that it is bad. And that's exactly what they did. So they start off, and the movie takes place, I believe, starting right around 2009, 2010. In 2010, they decided to try to cryo freeze Jason because there was no way to kill him. He has some kind of regenerative. He's able to regenerate pretty well, but there's no way to kill him, so they're just going to freeze him until they can try to figure that out. Well, of course, the government has different ideas. They think that they can hold him, so they bring out 5 people. He's killed over 200, but let's bring 5 people over to transport this guy across the country, or where I guess they're just going from New Jersey to Scranton. They literally said they're going to Scranton. I don't know if they're going to a paper company or what.
This takes place in the office?
Yeah. So they're going to do that. Of course, Jason escapes. He kills everyone except for the main girl, and they get trapped in the cryo freeze. He breaks the cryo freeze, which freezes the entire room, and they get stuck in there for 400 years. So part 1 of the absurdity, did no one notice that they were gone for 400 years, let alone like 5 days? Did all of these people who died and the girl who's frozen in there have no friends or family that are wondering where they are? Did everyone who knew about the Crystal Lake research facility die? How were they stuck there unless the Earth died like in 2011 in their time frame? But anyway, that's part 1 of the absurdity. All right, so the students find Jason and the scientists and bring him up to the ship. The scientist played by Lexa Doig, you know her from the Andromeda series, and they're able to bring her back to life. They kind of tell her what's going on, and they say that, oh yeah, by the way, we brought up this other dude with us as well. That's when she starts freaking out because, of course, she knows what Jason can do. Talking about the absurdity, of course, they bring her back to life after 400 years, but they're working on Jason. And of course, with this being a bunch of students, there's got to be a few that are starting to get a little frisky, we'll say. And of course, if you remember the original 9 before this, it seems like anybody who has sex dies. And that's what they're making fun of themselves with here. As soon as those two start the action, immediately Jason turns into the Undertaker, pops right up, and he's alive again. It's almost like the sex motivates him. Which, again, making fun of themselves, that's what happened in the previous 9. He takes the first scientist out by dunking her head in liquid nitrogen and then smashing her face on the table. So throughout the movie, you find out that the teacher who's supposed to be there helping teach the students is actually trying to take stuff from the old Earth and sell it onto the new Earth. And he's going to be able to make a lot of money off of Jason. That was another kind of absurd thing. He's talking to his dealer, and this dealer knows about Jason Voorhees. I mean, I guess he would be the biggest mass murderer of all time with 200 plus kills that just disappeared. So Jason is out. Everybody in the ship knows, so they call the team. They apparently, a bunch of students and a teacher needs a full Marine platoon or group to come out and help. So yeah, anyway, they get their Marines together and they're like, let's go out and kill this monster. So anyway, Jason takes out the entire platoon of Marines without a scratch. And that's when the students have to step up, obviously. And one of the students, I'm not even going to try to say his name because they gave him a futuristic name like Sunaron, I don't know, Saruman, the eye from Lord of the Rings. He builds an android called KM-14. He upgrades her so she can finally kill Jason. And that's what she does with the same weapons that the Marines were using. But when she shoots him, she's able to dismember him. She takes off a leg, she takes off an arm, she takes off most of his head with 2 or 3 shots. I'm not sure how the Marines weren't able to do the same thing with the same weapons, but when you're an android, maybe you can target joints a little bit better. So anyway, of course, he falls on the regeneration table and is brought back to life again as Mega Jason or Robo Jason or whatever you want to call him. And how do they stop him? Or at least how do they slow him down? They use this holodeck and put him back into Camp Crystal Lake from the 1980s. That's again where they start making fun of themselves again. You see, he's walking, he's confused. Then they pop up 2 fake women. They're like, hey, we're drinking and having drugs, or maybe we want to have premarital sex. I'm not over exaggerating. That's basically how they talk. And, of course, that distracts him while they're trying to get off of the ship. But what made this movie completely absurd was Brodsky, the main Marine. Brodsky turned out to be the good Jason because, again, this guy could not die. He is stabbed twice through the gut halfway through the movie, but he pulls himself off, lives and crawls to the medical chamber and patches himself up, and he's fine. Then he has to go outside so they can try to escape. He makes it back in just as Mega Jason is about to kill the main people and grabs him, and then the ship explodes. And this is where it gets completely absurd because, of course, Jason from the explosion comes straight at the escape ship that they're getting away from. And then I'm not sure how the explosion made Brodsky go way out over here, but he was able to turn himself around and come back and catch him right before he is about to hit the ship. So Brodsky, I think, is the anti-Jason. You know, in the future, they found the good Jason. And I would like to believe that he rode Jason all the way through the atmosphere of Earth 2 and landed in the lake. And the impact was mainly on Jason. So now Brodsky is in somewhere on Earth 2 looking for Jason. So I would love to see Jason X1 and bring back Brodsky, bring back Jason, have them go at it Freddy versus Jason style. So if you can go into the movie watching or expecting absurdity, because it is complete absurdity, it's cheesy, not bad absurdity. And the movie's only like an hour and a half long, so it's easy to get through.
And I'm here to argue that Jason X, the dumbest Jason film, is actually the deepest film. Obviously, Jason X is not a religious film, but an old Hollywood cliche in horror movies is killing off evil characters as a way to punish them for their sins, per se. The movie jokes with this premise. Consider when Kinza locks herself in an escape pod, but won't open the door for anyone else, leaving them to die. Her escape pod flies straight into the hull of the ship and explodes. Of course, the campers just give Jason their reasons to be killed, and they receive death by sleeping bags. And then there's the professor. Professor's psychology is the main theme in the film. Sure, he's motivated by money, but it actually goes deeper than simply greed. Consider the deeper problem highlighted in these examples. He's a leader who continues to say, everything's okay, it's great, we're all gonna make it, as everybody around them continues to be slaughtered. The funniest example comes when the professor is finally confronted by Jason. As he is cowering and about to die, he calls his students to come back saying, hey guys, it's okay, he just wanted his machete back. So the theme appears to be disillusion, detachment from reality. He is unable to see situations for what they are, and he cannot tell the difference between this fantasy he's created in his mind and what's actually happening, which is something that some people really do in real life. If your belief in yourself is strong enough, will your desires manifest to become reality? Jason X says no. On the other hand, Sarge is a valiant and brave character who dies. At first, it seems to throw a wrench in the horror cliché theory, but there's one difference. He sacrifices himself willingly so others can escape. So he is the one character who gets to choose his death, and he's rewarded with a meaningful death. Did I convince you that this is a deep film?
didn't convince me it's a deep film, but I think it's worth the watch. It's stupid and fun.
But if you're looking for the dumbest thing ever, there you go.
I've never heard it described as deep, but all right.
It's there if you want to see it. But what about another sci-fi space horror film? But this time, this one actually has a cult following. Watch this video next.